Welcome to Get It Off Your Chest, Let It Rest. Welcome to my podcast, everybody. My name is Jasmine Barnes Sampaio, and today I have a burning topic that I want to get off my chest. And that topic is financial literacy. An uncomfortable topic for me, an uncomfortable topic for many people. We don't want to talk about the money. When we talk to our bosses, we don't want to talk to them about the raise. When we talk to people, ask them for money, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about the fact that nobody taught us how to manage our money. We don't want to talk about the fact that we spend more than we make. We don't want to talk about it, but today I want to get it off my chest. And today I wanted to touch on the topic of financial literacy because it's not something that we're necessarily taught in schools. For example, in Jamaica, I'm from Jamaica, so with financial literacy, I feel like it's never something that has been taught in my household. It's not something that I was taught in any of my classes unless I signed up for a specific course that teaches me that, right? So in this day and age, we have to be in control of our finances. And I've made a few mistakes and I'm learning from them, still learning from them. So I wanted to share some things that I've learned, and some things that have literally draped me, just hold me and choke me and drape me up. And for some of you that might be satisfying, but for me, it was rough. And it's February 1st, so I feel like it's time for us to improve our finances. January was just kind of a rocky start to the year, but I feel like February usually is, let me just assess and adjust and adapt my vision, my resolution, my goals, so that it is KISS. That term, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Sometimes we just have to keep it simple, stupid, so that anyone can understand it. So today, I wanted to define, for those who don't know, financial literacy. And that usually refers to the knowledge and skills required to make informed and effective decisions about money management, investing, debt, budgeting, financial planning. And it is a critical aspect of personal and professional development, as it empowers individuals to navigate the complexities of the financial world and make sound financial decisions. So let me just give you some very key financial components of financial literacy. So like one of them, major one, and it is number one, and that is budgeting and money management. The other one is managing debt. And another one is saving and investing. Number 4 is understanding credit. Number 5 is financial planning. Number 6 is consumer awareness. Number 7 is economic and financial systems. I don't completely understand every single one of them. I'm still learning about it, and I will bring on, as we go along in the podcast, I will bring on people that know more about it so that they can better explain to both me and you about it. But one thing that I have been focusing on is budgeting. So as we are on the subject of just keeping it simple, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, we will start with budgeting and money management. And I feel like that's a great thing to start out February 1st with, to make sure that we start afresh with getting towards financial freedom, right? So creating and sticking to a budget is very essential to have that as a skill for managing your personal finances. So let me just give you a little bit of a step-by-step guide, and give you snippets of examples that I might do for me specifically, and see how best you can apply it to yourself if you don't know about budgeting, right? So first of all, you have to assess your financial situation. So you start by gathering information about your income, your expenses, your debts, your saving. This includes pay stubs, bills, bank, credit cards, statements, and any other financial records, right? So the next thing you want to do after that is calculate your income. So determine your total monthly income, including wages, salaries, freelance earnings, rental income, any external other resources. So don't just write down, okay, I have a 9 to 5, I'm going to write that down. But if you have a side hustle, write that down too. That extra money, if somebody give you an extra $100,000, if somebody give me never mind. If someone gives you extra money that you weren't expecting to get, add that to your budget as well as calculating your income. Include it in it. Don't leave it out. And then you want to identify your fixed and variable expenses. So fixed expenses are like regular predictable costs such as your rent, mortgage, utilities, insurance, internet bill, loan payments. Variable expenses are like discretionary, and that may fluctuate as, like, for example, groceries, entertaining, dining out, travel, stuff like that. For me, I write everything down that I spend, or that's what I'm going to do for February. So write it down. Your fixed expenses, your regular bills that comes monthly, you know what it is, you know the amount that is going to be. And if you have to spend anything extra, you write it down. For me, I write everything down. So if it's a case where I have to write something down, I try not to make it stupid. So if I have to buy candy, if it is something that I have to buy, I end up probably not buying it because I'm going to have to write down candy, $5 on my budget. And that's a waste of space for me. And I'm like, so, all right, instead of buying candy, let me just not spend the money and not write it down. Because if I don't write it down, that means I didn't spend the money. And then the next thing that you want to look at is setting a financial goal. Set financial goals. Identify short-term and long-term financial goals, such as saving for a vacation, paying off debt, building an emergency fund, or saving for retirement. For me, I have several financial goals because it's goals with an S at the end. So I have bills that I have to pay, but I have a travel expense that I want to save for this particular thing. I want to save to buy a house. I want to save to buy a car. It differs for everybody. So set your financial goals, because what are you saving for? You're saving for a reason, right? So the next thing that you want to do, obviously, is create your budget. So you can get a budget spreadsheet from anywhere. I will be releasing a journal/planner with a budget outline on that. It's very simple, easy to use. So you can go on Amazon and find that as well. Or you can go on Amazon and find anything, but I'm plugging my own. So you can go on Amazon and purchase that. So using a spreadsheet or a budget software, just a pen and paper, list your income and your expenses and allocate a specific amount for each category. So ensuring that your total expenses do not exceed your income. If it exceeds your income, Houston, we have a problem. I have done it before. I don't know where the money comes from, but I find the money and I spend it on nonsense. I spend it on things that I don't need. Just frivolous spending. So if we are in the business of writing everything down that we spend and making sure that it aligned with our income, and paying yourself. So when you get paid, you have to set something aside for you, saving something for yourself, right? Prioritize. The next thing is to prioritize saving and debt. So like I was saying, make sure you put aside. I call it paying myself. That's what I refer to it as, paying myself. So whenever I get paid for something, I set aside something from each income that I have, each side hustle or main hustle or main job that I have. I set something aside specifically for that, from that income. So if it's a case where I make $10,000 from my 9 to 5, I take a percentage off that for my savings. If I make something from my side hustle from doing hair, I take something from that and put towards my saving. Or something like, for example, there is something that I do that, for example, I don't necessarily put any of that amount towards any bills. I put that entire thing to my savings. So that's me paying myself. That's what I call it. I just refer to it as paying myself. So that you aim to just save at least, your aim is to save at least 10 to 20% of your income and allocate that additional funds towards paying off higher interest debts. Like, for example, if you have debt, right? Because I know some people have credit card loans and stuff like that. But make sure that you allocate some of that to your savings. All right. Next thing that you want to do, as I mentioned before, is to track how you spend. So record all your expenses, compare them to your budget, and this will help you to identify areas where you may be overspending and need to make adjustments. All right. And like I said, if it's not worth writing down, to take a pen or a paper out to just write down, okay, I spent this amount of money on heels that I really don't need, or something else that I really don't need, or a Stanley cup when I could have bought a cheaper cup, that something that you really don't need. So track your spending. Next thing that you want to do is to review your budget and adjust it. So regularly review it, like it's monthly. You want to do your budget each month. So review and adjust. So at the end of the month, you want to review your budget to ensure that you are staying on track with your financial goals, and make adjustments as needed, especially if your income or expenses change. All right. So you want to use budgeting tools. Like I said, go on Amazon, buy my book. It's a journal. You can write everything down. It has a budget tracker in there as well. And just use that to help you track your spending and saving goals, right? And I mentioned this before, that the name of the game this year, my favorite word for this entire year, will be consistency. So the one thing that I want everyone, if you're listening to this, is to just stay disciplined. Anything that you're doing, you want to stay consistent. You want to stay disciplined, whether it's working out, whether it's your finances, whether it's work, whether it's anything that you're doing, you want to stay consistent. So being disciplined, stick to your budget and avoid overspending. Be mindful of your financial goals and the long-term benefits of responsible money management. And I think this is going to be the hardest thing, because, for example, I don't like leaving my house because when I leave my house, I spend money. So if I don't need to leave my house, I don't leave my house. Or what I started doing was leaving my purse at home. I went to teach a dance class the other day, and on the way back, there's somewhere that I like to buy smoothies. So I stop and I buy a smoothie every time I walk by there, every single time. And I don't need it. So what I started to do was to take the exact amount of money that I need with me, which would be to cover transportation. That's it. Just my transportation money. And I leave my purse and my cards at home. And that just kind of helps me to stay consistent and to stay disciplined when it comes on to tracking my spending. And the other thing that it's not necessarily a must, however, I think that it is necessary to have, right? You don't have to do this, but personally, I like to build an emergency fund. To prioritize building an emergency fund is important to me because sometimes I have been in the hospital on and off. If people who know me, I have been in the hospital on and off a lot the past couple of years. So it is important to me to have a emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses. So aiming to save to 3 to 6 months worth of like living expenses and stuff like that. I try to have an emergency fund just to kind of have that set aside, as Jamaicans say, for a rainy day. So I feel like if you follow these steps and maintain consistency, maintain discipline, you can create a budget that reflects your financial goals and helps you maintain your money effectively. Remember that, that budgeting is a dynamic process, and it's important to regularly review and adjust your budget based on your changing financial circumstances. And one thing that I really, really have been draped about today, my sister talked to me about this. One thing that I really have been draped about is saying no. It is important to set boundaries and make decisions that are in line with your own well-being and values. While it is a natural to want to help others, for me, I am a giver. And I am very accommodating. But it's equally important to consider your own needs and limitations. So learning to say no when necessary is healthy. It is a healthy way to maintain balance in your life and relationships. It allows you to prioritize your time and energy and resources effectively. My husband curses me out about this. It's like a loving curse out about just saying no, because I help. In Jamaica, we call it come to help us. I am come to help us with everything and everybody. And everybody thinks you have all this money because you keep giving and giving and you never say no. And this is me talking to myself as well. But again, saying no allows you to prioritize your time, energy, and resources effectively. And it can also lead to more meaningful and sustainable commitments and relationships. So saying no when appropriate is a valuable skill that can contribute to your overall well-being and success, especially when it comes to your finances. Just pray for them. Sometimes we have to give them a Queen Charlotte. Sorrows. Did you say sorrows first? Prayers, sorrows. So send them your prayers, send them your sorrows. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't want to help. But in this season, in order for you to be better able to help people, you have to help you first and prioritize you first. So again, it is when it is appropriate. So if it's in like an emergency, like it's literally something that you do need to help with, yes, by all means, but limit that. Set boundaries. And this was another episode of Get It Off Your Chest and Let It Rest. We'll continue the financial discussion as the weeks roll on so that we can cover some other things and some other little nuggets. But today we wanted to keep it simple, stupid. KISS. Thank you for joining my podcast. And join me again tomorrow for another episode of, or anytime at all on your podcast streaming platforms. Let's get it off your chest and let it rest. Have a good day.